Morning. Happy Father's Day. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful Sunday so far. So today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about accountability. I asked Copilot to define accountability for me. And the very first sentence says, the fact or condition of being accountable. Don't you just love when the definition doesn't really define the word, it just refers you to something else? So anyway, Copilot did go on to say that accountability can mean to take responsibility for one's actions and being answerable for them. So the reason I started thinking about it is that I recently partnered up with a couple of people to start a new IT company. And one of the posts I made was that, when I met them, not only did I get accountability partners for my business, but I also got accountability partners for my health, for working out, and spiritually. So then I started to think, well, where did that term come from, accountability partners? And it turns out that it started in the 1990s. I can't believe it was that late. With an organization called Promise Keepers. Promise Keepers was a Christian organization, and they started the concept in an attempt to help people hold each other accountable for spiritual and moral commitments. I think that's awesome that a Christian organization came up with that idea. I mean, it was only in the Bible since the beginning of time. But, nobody said we were going to be fast about things. So, after that started with Promise Keepers in the 90s, eventually the concept caught on, and people started to establish accountability partners for business health and personal development. So then I wanted to look into, what does the Bible say about the role that the church as a body, as an organization, is supposed to play in our lives. And the first thing that I found was first that not in any particular order. The first thing I found, though, was that the church is responsible for teaching and discipleship. It's responsible for teaching sound doctrine and helping believers grow in faith. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 11 through 12 says, He gave some to be apostles, some to be prophets, some to be evangelists, and some to be pastors and teachers, to equip the saints for works of ministry. So all that kind of falls into the teaching and discipline, right? Discipleship. Man, having a hard time talking this morning. Just forgive me. Okay. So next I found that the church is supposed to help us with spiritual leadership. And the Bible established roles for like elders, deacons, and pastors to guide the church. 1 Timothy chapter 3, verses 1 through 7, and Titus chapter 1, verses 5 through 9, both describe the qualifications for church leaders, emphasizing integrity and wisdom. Okay? Next, I found information about the church guiding us in worship and fellowship. The church is called to gather for worship, prayer, and encouragement. Hebrews 10, verses 24 to 25 urges believers to meet regularly and support one another. Churches are also supposed to serve the community. The church should care for the needy, widows, and orphans. James 1 verse 27 says, religion that God our Father accepts as pure and faultless is this, to look after orphans and widows in their distress. Also, churches are supposed to teach financial stewardship. Church leaders oversee finances, and they're supposed to ensure that they are used wisely for ministry and outreach. Then here it is. Are you ready? Churches are responsible for church discipline and accountability. There's the word, accountability. The church is responsible for correcting and guiding members in love, okay? In love, not through fire and brimstone, not through judgment, in love. Matthew 18, verse 15 through 17 outlines a process for addressing sin within the church. Okay? I don't know about you, but I definitely feel like the concept of churches performing these duties has lost its way. At least as far as, what we can view online or in the popular evangelical ministries. The concept seems to be to treat God like he's, the genie in the lamp. You're going to rub it, God's going to come out, and you tell him what you want. So many messages are about prosperity ministries. Sow a seed of $800 today, and God's going to bless you. I see it. I see that, God gave me the word. For self-help ministries about how to use God's word to improve yourself and feel better. And a lot of the messages that are intended to put butts in the seat today are all about uplifting you. Feel good for that 50 minutes. If I can get you in the door and uplift you for 50 minutes, then you're going to tithe and my ministry is going to go on, right? And also healings. Teach people to just turn to God when they feel sick or when something's wrong, when they need something fixed. So prosperity, self-help, and healing or fixing my finances, right? That's what 90% of the services that you can find today are about. Very little of it is about establishing a long-lasting relationship with Jesus, which is the whole reason that God created us. He created us for a relationship with him. Remember, when he first created us, he was walking amongst us. At that time, there was no sin, right? Seemingly, all we're interested in is, how does it affect me? If what you're doing affects me, well, it doesn't even affect me. If what you're doing is perceived by me as something that goes against what I believe in, then you shouldn't be doing it. And this is what all the messages are about. Believers, non-believers, everybody's putting out messages that have to do with hate and impatience and trying to make people fall in line to be what you think they should be and what you think they should believe. It's like there's a fear that the only way to get At least for content managers, the only way to get views, likes, subscribers, or butts in your seat is to focus on how we can make the lives of others better through instant gratification, or how we can just fall in line with the narrative that's being presented and attack people for not thinking the way that we think they should. There's a problem with this. The problem is that the comfort that it provides you, if it provides you any at all, is temporary. It's going to last for 5 minutes until somebody offends you again. And then you're going to be off on your rant. The feel-good feeling's going to be gone. You're going to make some stupid post on Facebook, or you're going to go drink to unwind, or eat a donut, whatever it is that you do to fill that void. Because we're not teaching you how to have the voids filled in a productive way. Everything that we do is temporary. We were made with one thing in mind: relationship with God. But ever since the bite of that fruit in the garden, all we do is search for something tangible to fill the space that's meant for God. Are the messages that we hear today supposed to be about prosperity, healing, improving yourself, making everything around you be exactly what you want it to be, and be exactly in the message that you want it to be in? Is that what we're supposed to be hearing? No. Now, don't get me wrong. We are supposed to hear about things that will make our lives better. And yes, prosperity is one of those. And yes, healing is one of those. And yes, self-help is one of those. But we're missing a key part. The messages we're getting are for temporary gratification. The messages we should be receiving are about how we can have those for eternity. The way that we do that, my friends, is through Jesus. Jesus will provide you with a peace in the midst of the chaos that is this life. A peace that it's just unfathomable. We're supposed to provide you with messages about how a relationship with Jesus provides you with feelings of love and comfort that are greater than anything you could ever experience through the instant and physical gratification of a relationship with another human being, or the instant and physical gratification that you get from some other activity in this life. And the best thing about that relationship with Jesus, my friends, is that what Jesus can give you not only helps you here, but it lasts for eternity. And if you can learn to live in that relationship daily, the way that you live in your friendships daily, the way that you live in your family daily, the way that you live in your partnered relationships daily, if you can learn to have that type of relationship with Jesus, where you think of him first, the same way that you think of your friends, family, business, and other partnerships, life partners, you will experience a greater peace and comfort than you've ever experienced in your life. Today I hold myself accountable to not only remind myself of this, but to remind you as often as possible to take Jesus with you. Take him on every thought, on every journey. And I'm not telling you it's easy. It's just not easy. Not even with accountability partners. Because, man, we just get up and we get going. And so many times I'll hit myself in the head and I'll be like, I forgot to pray. I forgot to ask God into this. So it does take work. And we do need accountability partners to help us with it, because hopefully if we don't remember, they will. But don't beat yourself up if you fall off track. Just get back on track. God's right there waiting. He's waiting for you to invite him with you. It truly is the one thing that makes a difference in my life. No matter what financial troubles I have, what health troubles I've experienced, what difficulties I have working out, whatever it is, when I invite Jesus in with me, it's calmer. I invite you to continue to follow this ministry, as our messages are going to be about that accountability and inviting God into your life. I'm going to teach you how to do it. And I'm going to leave you today with Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 through 6. Trust in the Lord with all you hear, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. Have a wonderful day. Prepare for your week ahead, and invite God along. Be blessed.